Hey y'all, it's day 8. It is day 8. Welcome to the Entrepreneur Wellness Series. I am Clarindria Addison, licensed therapist, podcast host, author, all things wellness. How y'all healing? Come on in the room. Y'all know, let me get this timer going because y'all know we got to make sure that we are on task here. Let me get your notebook and your pen. Today is quite an interesting topic as we transition to more about empowerment. And it's so funny, y'all, because I feel like I never have issues with my throat or voice. And I feel like it's been so scratchy when I get on here, and I ain't been doing no singing or nothing. So I don't know what that's about, but we are going to get to it. The last 7 days, I've talked about the foundation of transformation. I'm not going to go over each topic that I discussed because I want you guys to go back and watch the videos. They're really quick, 21 minutes, a little bit more here and there, but you get the gist of what you need to in that short period of time. And I want to go over, okay, let me get my notes for today. Day 8. I'm excited. I really am. I really am excited that I've been able to be consistent. Let me tell y'all that making time, honey, which is why y'all heard me say the plan is to get have a specific time that I'm going to go live. However, I am about to be traveling, so it's going to be a little tricky and a little complicated because I will be on different time zone. However, I'm still going to do them. I just have to figure out what it's going to look like. Hey, Ann, thanks for joining. Thank you, guys. So I am looking to figure out like what that's going to look like as I'm traveling for the next couple of weeks. But just know if you miss the time, I want to start putting up like a little flyer to say, hey, I'm going to be going live at this time, based on time zone. So then you guys will have that information. And we'll be able to get right into it. So today, day 8, people pleasing. Yes, that is hurting you. People pleasing is hurting you. Some causes of people pleasing: fear of rejection, a desire for validation, and avoiding conflict. So, of course, I always want to share a little, story for my own personal experiences. And sometimes I end up sharing, some other examples. But for me, people pleasing, definitely probably in the last, I'm going to say 5 to 6 years, 2019, 2020, is when I started to have this transition around, I have a voice. I had, done some healing work, had worked on my throat chakra, and started to be able to speak up. And part of my thing that I had with people pleasing was I just kind of was like, oh, it's okay, we can do whatever, or but now I have found myself like saying, oh, I don't think that's going to work for me. What if it could be this, or what if we could do that? And one of the things that I found is that it did kind of shrink my friend circle. And I think part of it was because I was so used to just kind of going along, right? And not necessarily in a bad way, but I guess maybe in my mind I was thinking, oh, I don't want to ruffle feathers. I don't want to be, there's always that person in the group that always complains, always, there's always something, there's always an issue or whatever. And I never wanted to be that person. So for me, I had to find the balance between how do I speak up and express how I feel and not make it like, it's me or, that I'm coming off harsh, but it really is just how I feel because a lot of people are not people pleasers and they will tell you no in a hot burning second and not think twice about it. So for me, as I got more into the practice of setting boundaries, I feel like that is when um, those the people pleasing started to change for me. And so, ways to set boundaries, like I just said, obviously practicing saying no without over explaining. And you've heard me say this time and time again that no is a complete sentence, period, exclamation mark. You don't have to then add an additional, you know, and I think about when as a parent, right, when you have your kids and you're going through things and you're trying to, sometimes I have found myself explaining and I feel like there's a time and a place, and sometimes the answer is just no, and that's just what it's going to be, and people have to respect and accept that. And then there are times where you might need to, provide some explanation. Or I think if someone asks, for me, I'm gonna be honest, I had to get in the practice of like, what if I tell somebody no, and then, they ask me why or they want further explanation, then it's like, okay, I'm gonna have to really, have some things kind of in my mind to be able to offer explanation if I feel the need to. Otherwise, it also still can just be no. Another way to set boundaries for people pleasing is schedule you time before committing to others. And people who know me know that I am a firm believer in I just want to do nothing. And don't take it personal because that is my time, right? And on occasion, there are some times where, I'll have people reach out to me and be like, hey, can we do this or can we do that? And I am really getting better at saying, oh, I'm not interested in doing that, but what if we do this? Or, I don't want to go to a club, but maybe we can go to, like a lounge or, somewhere that's a bit more quiet, that's not necessarily a turn up. And don't get me wrong, because your girl like to do a turn up on occasion. However, I don't want to do that all the time. So being able to, express that to my peers, when being invited to different things is good. And being able to set time away for myself. Another example I can give is in the book that I'm reading, The Artist's Way. You have to set up dates for yourself every week. And now, again, for years, trust me, for years, and I'm going to say probably the last good 9, 10, maybe even a little more, I have been very intentional about that. Because after my divorce, I really had been working on like finding myself and like, what did I like? What do I enjoy doing? Where do I want to go? Because in that relationship, I had been married, we had kids, and everything was about the marriage, about the kids, about making sure all of their needs were met. And at times I did not necessarily do things that I wanted to do. So now I'm very intentional about, planning dates for myself. And I think that everybody should get in the practice of that. And you do not always have to have company, right? You should be able to go to a meal on your own, go to a movie by yourself, go for a walk by yourself. Because that you time allows you to free think. It allows space for you to not think at all, like if that's what you want to do, and not be like, oh, I got to be trying to figure this out. And it really allows you to set time for what it is that you enjoy. which I think sometimes people don't do because they're so busy, working or trying to keep up with something somebody else is doing, and they don't make the time. And when I say keep up with what somebody else is doing, I'm relating that to, like, hanging out with people or going out with friends, or your spouse or your partner or things like that, but not, saying like it's okay if I do something by myself because this is time just for me to be. However, maybe I don't want to have a full conversation when I go out to dinner, or maybe I want to scroll through my phone and see what's happening on social media or whatever that is. And then the third boundary is to remember you cannot pour from an empty cup. I'm going to put this on the screen for you guys. Practice saying no without over explaining. Schedule you time before committing to others. And remember, you cannot pour from an empty cup. And I have this conversation a lot, again, with clients, peers, with my kids, friends, whoever, about making sure that you are filling yourself up, right? Because if we aren't full, then how are we able to give goodness and greatness to someone else, or to a thing, or to a business, or whatever that is? So making sure that you nurture yourself. What does that look like? Doing nothing. That's always going to be number one for me. Doing nothing, meditating, listening to your favorite music on the radio, watching your favorite movie, or, for me, I'm known for binge watching. I'll reach out to my friends and be like, what are we binge watching right now? Because I need to catch up. Because honestly, sometimes I'll turn the TV on and then it's just on and I'm still doing something else. But if it's something that's a good binge, honey, I will get into it. Yes, yes. A people pleaser rarely prioritizes their own needs. So, to my point, you have to prioritize yourself. Otherwise, you will be people pleasing. People will be getting all of the things they need, and you will be continuing to lack. So, you got to prioritize yourself. Remember, a people pleaser rarely prioritizes their own needs. Y'all got that? Did y'all put that in the notebook? Hi. Hello. Thanks for joining. You will find your true self in stillness. Absolutely. Absolutely. Somebody said no. No to what? Um, so next, you deserve more. Stop settling for less in your business life. And in this series, one of the things that I've really been trying to make sure that people are taking away, we can be all things entrepreneur, but my biggest point, and I'm going to keep stressing this throughout this series, is that you are first. And if you have not done the work, taken care of yourself, poured into yourself, done things that can help you, your business will suffer. I have many people that I have, get consultations with, and they're like, oh my God, I'm just kind of scrambling. I'm trying to do this thing and I'm trying to do that thing. And I want to start this and I want to do that. And I'm always like, you got to slow down. First of all, how are you doing? And they will sometimes realize, or most often, I should say, realize that they're doing all of these other things, like, oh, I got to pick my kid up. I got to drop this off. I got to cook dinner. I got to take care of the husband. Right. And they're trying to figure out, why can't I get to the business and do the things I need to do? Because you haven't made any time for yourself, because you're doing all of these other things. Right. And so that's where the balance comes in at, and where the people pleasing we have to let go of, so that we can allow the space for us to be nurtured. Yes. So, some examples. You set the standard for how others treat you. So you might have to raise the standard, honey, because people are going to treat you how you allow them to treat you. So raise the standard. right? And if you have been in the practice of letting people walk over you, again, being a people pleaser, not saying no, let me tell you, it is going to be a rude awakening. I definitely have had people like stop talking to me. I've had people like, kind of cut me off. And again, what I learned is that those people weren't my people, because at the end of the day, I have to do what's right for me, just like everybody else is doing what's right for them. And I think sometimes it's hard to hear that. I feel like there are times when people are like, man, she used to do that, or I would call her and she was always available. I think I made a post from one of my readings that I do every morning, and it was saying this person was always available, and then when they said no, they was like, man, they want to go fishing, like, yeah, because that's something that they enjoy and that's something that fills them up. So they had to tell this person no, that they couldn't babysit their kids because they wanted to go fishing. So just I could, go on and on with the examples, but to the point, you set the standard, and you might have to raise your standard, so that people know that they have to respect you. The more you accept almost, the further you get from everything. I'm going to say that again. The more you accept almost, the further you get from everything. And you don't need permission to want more. And I know that there's a lot of time where, and I got emotional yesterday when I was talking, because, you know, I feel like God has poured so much into me, and I've been so grateful for that, that I don't need permission to want more. I've earned a lot, I've done a lot, I've worked a lot. And so being able to now continue to want more, there's nothing wrong with that. Ah, what is somebody out here? Oh my goodness. Exactly. Um, getting a massage. Somebody said getting a massage. Yes, yes, yes. Absolutely, absolutely. So let me share those points, um, to stop settling for less in your business and in life. Stop settling for less in your business and in your life. So, one, you set the standard for how others treat you. So, you might have to raise it. The more you accept almost, the further you get from everything. You don't need permission to want more. I got that. I'm going to give you an affirmation. I deserve clarity. I invite focus. The clearer you are and the more focused you are, the more you will learn to value yourself and know your worth, and know that you don't have to please everybody. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You don't have to please everybody. You do not. Y'all got that? I deserve clarity. I invite focus. And then our journal prompt for today: what environments or habits support my focus the best? What environments or habits support my focus the best? So, as you're going out through the rest of today and even going into tomorrow, we'll have day 9 tomorrow, but as you're going into the rest of the day and tomorrow, think about what environments or habits support your best focus. And to my point, part of that is going to be setting boundaries. Part of that is going to be choosing yourself. Part of that is going to be being able to say no and not being a people pleaser. I know that's it sounds a little harsh, but we're gonna be okay. Let's see. Keep going. Yes. Somebody said, I'm not lit. I'm spiritually charged by the Holy Spirit. That part. I love that for you. I love it. I love it. I love it. Love, love, love. So I hope you guys got your message for today. We are no longer people pleasing. We are prioritizing ourselves. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Remember, small shifts create big change. Protect your peace, your day, your power, your shift. Remember, the shift is happening now.